Hi everyone, today we're going to take a look at an app called Batingaw. Now I probably pronounced that incorrectly, but it's the Filipino word for siren or alarm or bell. Now this is from the National Disaster Risk Reduction Management Council. Now normally I would learn my notes before I make a video, but honestly this app doesn't excite me that much, so I just want to make this video as quickly as possible. It is somewhat useful, so I do recommend you check it out. Anyway, what is this all about? Well, let's open it up. For anyone who's interested, this software comes from a company called Tudlo, and this whole thing is in partnership with Smart. So the idea is that you install this app and then you prepare yourself for earthquakes, typhoons and things like that. Now I would say this is very much a work in progress. There's still a lot of things to fix with this and improve, but it's also got some decent features. So let's go through what it actually has. And just to clarify, this is available on Android and iOS devices like the iPhone. So when you first open the app, you've got like this social media element in the middle where anyone can post something that's relevant. So for instance, they might say, oh, there's a landslide on a road going to Baguio or something like that. So you can get updated news. Now, I don't know how useful this is going to be, especially in the case of a real emergency, because everyone's going to be flooding it with posts. It might be useful, but yeah, I'd like to wait and see on that. There's already some like stuff on here that doesn't really need to be on here, like raining afternoon poll. And this one, all clear weather, sunny and bright, ideal for hitting beaches and nature tripping and exotic sites. It's just not relevant to like disaster, earthquake, etc. It's off topic, probably shouldn't be there. Anyway, so that's a social media element and anyone can post to that. Now one of the most useful features of this app in my mind is if you press this button here, you get all the numbers for the local departments. So we've got we've got Bureau of Fire, we've got DepEd, we've got DILG, DOTC, that should now be DOTR I think, we've got DSWD, we've got Flood Bulletin, Makati Rescue, they're all on here. And the nice thing is that it automatically updates the numbers from the internet, provided you've got an internet connection of course. So that's nice because you always have the most updated numbers. I do like that feature. Now of course the only downside is that you do need load to call these people. For instance, the Philippine Air Force, if you look at the number, it's 02 something something something, it's a landline. So you do need load to be able to call these numbers. So if you don't have any credit or any load, you won't actually be able to call them. Now if I click this button on the side here, I get the Twitter accounts of various different local departments. So for instance, we've got DepEd, we've got the PNP, DOTC, we've got RAPLA, Philippine Red Cross, like various different ones, MMDA. So we can click on that and then see what's going on. But of course you need internet connection to be able to do this. So if you don't have an internet connection, you're out of luck. Now what I would like to see is that because this app is in cooperation with Smart, I would like to see them put it on their free zone or safe zone or whatever it is they're calling it nowadays, so that you can access this even without a data plan. Now another nice feature, if we click down here, is that it's got all these options here. Now this one is very good, safety tips. Now these are hard coded into the app, so even if you don't have an internet connection, you can still open these up. So if we go to flood for example, it tells us some causes of flood, blah blah blah, but that stuff's, I mean it's okay, but it's not very interesting. This is more important, things to do before, during and after. Now in my opinion, these should actually be at the top, because these are the most important when, you know, most of the time you're not even going to bother reading this stuff until it happens. So in my mind, this stuff should be at the top and then put all this like filler material down the bottom. And they've got various different guides for flood, tsunami, landslide. That's very good. Some of them need a little bit more work, but overall very good. Now some other useful features, for example, is the siren. So if we open this up, pretty loud, and yeah, it should get people's attention. Another feature is the flashlight. Now of course many people already have this built into their phone anyway, so that's not that amazing, but they do have a strobe light feature also. Where's that? Here. Now before I turn this on, strobe warning for anyone who might be affected. And there you go, you can see it's now strobing. So that can get the attention of emergency rescuers, and it can also make your battery last a little bit longer. And you can adjust the speed at which it flashes. So yeah, nice little useful feature. The downside is you can't have the siren and the strobe light at the same time. That would probably be a useful feature to have. Now it also has some things like an e-library, but again you need an internet connection to be able to access any of that, so might not be that useful for everyone. Now another feature is the help option. Now unfortunately it says unable to get your current location, which doesn't really make sense because the phone was reporting to me that this app is consuming a lot of battery power for location services. Now when I tried that on my iPhone, what it did is it opened up a text message and then it put in my coordinates. So I don't know where it sends it to, some kind of like national, you know, emergency center, I don't know. But anyway, it prepared that text message with my exact coordinates. So that would be very useful. But for whatever, oh no, wait, cancel. So I forgot, on this one it makes a phone call. But on my iPhone it sends an SMS with my coordinates, so much more useful. So I guess they just need to improve this a little bit on Android, make it a bit more reliable. I know it's difficult because there are so many different Android devices, they all have their own little quirks. It's very hard to design applications. And now let's talk about the bad points. Now, there's nothing too big, although there is one like killer problem. The app crashes all the time on Android and on my iPhone. And I checked reviews and other people are saying the same thing, crashes all the time. Now imagine there's some kind of emergency, you've opened the app, you've turned on the siren, with like your last dying breath, you've turned on the siren, waiting for people to rescue you, and then the app crashes. It's really actually quite a big deal, because an emergency app that's not reliable is no good to anyone. So they really have to work on that crashing issue on both Android and iOS devices. Now another thing that I think they should change is that when you install it on an iOS device, it forces you to sign up to create an account. Now the problem with that is a lot of people who install these kind of disaster apps or emergency apps, they install them just in case. So your friend says to you, oh, you should install this, so if ever there's a typhoon or a flood and you're in an emergency situation, so open the app and you'll be able to get some help. Well, if you do that on your iPhone, you actually can't access anything until you register. And to register, you have to have an internet connection. Now on Android, you don't have to do that. You can see right now, I don't have an account. But on iPhone, it forces you. I think that's very bad. They should remove that, because for everyone who installs this, if they don't open it straight away and set up an account using the internet, they're going to be screwed when there's a real emergency. So I think they need to change that. So I think that pretty much sums it up. It does need some work, but it's very handy having all those local numbers of the different departments, emergency services, etc. It's useful having all the Twitter accounts of the various agencies, and some of the features here with the strobe light and whatever, the safety tips, is kind of useful. So yeah, if you're interested, you can find the links to download this in the video description down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks for watching.